What if you could live in Colombia's coffee country with perfect weather, green hills in every direction, and the smell of fresh coffee in the air for less than it costs to fill your gas tank back home?
Okay, I'm officially in Armenia, or Armenia, depending on how you want to pronounce this. And it's Armenia, Colombia.
Welcome to Armenia, the quiet capital of Colombia's Quindío region. Small, peaceful, and incredibly affordable. Today we're breaking down what life here really costs: rent, food, transportation, and what kind of lifestyle you can expect in one of Colombia's most underrated cities. Let's find out if Armenia might just be Colombia's hidden gem. Hey, I'm Matt, and this is the Americano, where we look at what it really costs to live abroad. We've already covered Bogotá, Manizales, Santa Rosa de Cabal, and Pereira, and now we're here in Armenia, the calm, affordable center of Colombia's coffee axis. If you're thinking about moving abroad or just curious what life actually looks like beyond the tourist trail, make sure to subscribe and join my free weekly newsletter, The Passport, where I share real budgets, visa updates, and my monthly digital magazine. Armenia is the smallest of Colombia's coffee axis capitals, and honestly, that's part of what makes it great. It's home to around 300,000 people, so it's big enough to have malls, restaurants, and hospitals, but small enough that you never feel lost in the crowd. The first thing that hit me here was how calm it feels. The air is clean, the streets are wide, and the city has this easygoing pace that just feels balanced. It's also noticeably flatter than Manizales, which means you can walk almost everywhere without feeling like you just ran a marathon. Compared to Pereira, Armenia feels quieter, less traffic, less noise, and fewer people rushing somewhere. It's the kind of place where you can start your day with great coffee, run your errands without stress, and end it watching the sunset over green mountains. It's not flashy, but it's real, comfortable, and surprisingly refined for its size. One of the things that makes Armenia so livable is how well connected it is. Even though it's smaller than Pereira or Manizales, the city's airport, El Eden International, has daily flights to Bogotá, Medellín, and Cartagena, and even a few direct routes to Panama City. My one-way flight from Armenia to Bogotá costs 309,742 pesos, or about $79 on Wingo, and that included the extra fee for a checked bag, and prices are significantly less out of the Pereira airport. Both airports will have you in the capital in under an hour. By road, Armenia sits right in the middle of Colombia's coffee axis, roughly 45 minutes to Pereira, 1 hour and 15 minutes to Manizales, and about 40 minutes to Salento. Bus fares to Pereira are about 11,000 pesos or $2.80, and to Salento are around 7,500 pesos or $1.90. So even though it feels calm and quiet, you're never far from a bigger city, an airport, or a weekend getaway. If you could design perfect weather, it would probably look like Armenia. The city sits at about 1,480 meters or 4,850 feet above sea level, which gives it year-round spring weather. Mornings are bright, afternoons warm, and evenings cool enough for a light jacket. Temperatures usually stay between 18 and 28 degrees Celsius or 64 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit all year long. No AC, no heating, and barely any humidity. And for me, at 82, I probably want a little bit of air conditioning. But rain showers roll through a few times a week, but they're short and refreshing, just long enough to make everything greener. It's one of those climates that quietly spoils you because once you get used to it, everywhere else feels extreme. Housing is one of the best reasons to consider Armenia. It's clean, safe, and still very affordable compared to most of Colombia's mid-sized cities. Like everywhere in Colombia, neighborhoods are ranked by estrato, a scale from 1 to 6 that reflects the area's economic level and affects utility rates. Estrato 3 is safe and local middle class, 5 is upper middle, and 6 is high end. Let's look at what that means here in Armenia. In La Esmeralda, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house rents for 700,000 Colombian pesos or about $175 per month. Perfect for a single person or even a couple. A larger 4-bedroom, 2-bath house in La Irlanda goes for 1,500,000 pesos or $375. Great location and close to the main avenues. If you want more space and amenities, an Estrato 5 house in Aborigines, 3 bedrooms, 3 baths, and 160 square meters rents for 3,500,000 pesos or around $875. It's part of a gated residential complex with modern finishes and green space. And at the top end, in Sector Centro, a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home with nearly 400 square meters rents for 4,714,000 pesos, or about $1,180 a month. That's luxury living in the city's most central and historic zone. Apartments here are just as easy on the wallet. In La Ribera, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment rents for 850,000 pesos or $213, while a 3-bedroom unit in Puerto Espejo runs 1,050,000 pesos or about $263. Both are in quiet, walkable neighborhoods close to shops and public transit. In Bosques de Viena, up in the north of Armenia, a 2-bedroom apartment rents for 1,600,000 pesos or $400. Newer building, nice views, and secure parking. And if you're after a more upscale lifestyle, a 2-bedroom, 3-bath apartment in La Campiña rents for 2,500,000 pesos or about $625. It's modern, secure, and close to some of the city's best cafes and restaurants. If you're looking to buy, Armenia has some of the lowest entry prices in the region. In Las Brisas, too, a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house sells for 205 million pesos, which is about $51,250. A larger 7-bedroom, 4-bath home in Sector Parque Valencia is 450 million pesos or 112,500. A great option for a multi-family household or investment property. In Zona 2 Norte, a 3-bedroom, 3-bath house in a gated community lists for 850 million pesos or about $212,500. Newer construction, larger lots, and more privacy. And at the high end along Via El Caimo, a 4-bedroom, 5-bath home with 350 square meters lists for 1 billion pesos, which sounds like a lot, but it's about $250,000. Full luxury living just outside the city, surrounded by coffee fields. In Puerto Espejo, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath apartment sells for 119 million pesos or $29,750. Another in Centro with 3 bedrooms and 2 baths goes for 175 million pesos or $43,750. In Bosques de Viena, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment is priced at 550 million pesos or $137,500. And at the top end, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in Lago de Iraca along Via El Caimo lists for 920 million pesos or about $230,000. It's modern, quiet, and surrounded by greenery, perfect if you want space and privacy. From $175 rentals in local neighborhoods to $1,000 high-end homes with mountain views, Armenia's housing market covers it all. And because prices haven't skyrocketed like they have in Medellín or Bogotá, you can still find modern homes and condos at prices that actually make sense. Utilities in Armenia are pleasantly predictable, and thanks to the mild climate, you'll never need heating or air conditioning. For a mid-size apartment, electricity averages around 100,000 pesos or about $25. Water and sewer come in near at 70,000 pesos or $18, and gas for cooking and hot water adds roughly 15,000 pesos or $4. Altogether, you're looking at about 185,000 pesos, around $47 a month for basic utilities, which is a fraction of what most people pay in the States. Internet speeds are strong for a city this size. Fiber connections reach 500 megabits for about 72,000 pesos or $18 through major providers like Claro, Tigo, or Movistar. And unlike US companies that lure you in with 12-month promos, then double your bill, service here stays consistent. Maybe a small inflation bump each year, but no surprises. Armenia may be peaceful, but it's fully modern. Everything just works quietly in the background. And because your utilities stay this low, your total monthly costs stay as comfortable as the housing itself. Let's talk food, because Armenia might not be famous for fine dining, but you'll eat incredibly well here. Grocery prices are almost identical to Perea. A dozen eggs costs about 10,000 pesos or $2.50. A kilo of rice runs 4,000 pesos or $1. And tropical fruit, mangoes, pineapples, papayas go for 2,500 to 4,000 pesos per kilo or around 60 cents to $1. You can comfortably keep your monthly grocery budget near 340,000 pesos or $85 a person. And about double that for a couple eating fresh, local, and healthy. Eating out is just as affordable. A traditional almuerzo ejecutivo, soup, main dish, drink, and dessert costs about 12,000 pesos or $3. For something a little fancier, Armenia has a few local favorites like La Fogata, known for grilled meats, and Bianco Ristorante, an Italian spot that feels upscale without being overpriced. A nice dinner for two with wine usually totals 140,000 pesos or about 35 US dollars. And that includes everything. No extra sales tax and a typical 8 to 10% tip, not the 20% you're used to in the US. Coffee here is world class too. A cappuccino or pour over from a specialty cafe costs around 8,000 pesos or 2 US dollars, and you're drinking it right at the source, literally surrounded by coffee farms. Our last night in Armenia before flying back to Bogotá, we stopped at a restaurant called Pantera, kind of a trendy upscale spot that mixes Latin, Peruvian, and Asian fusion dishes with a cocktail lounge vibe. We ordered 3 plates to share: the beef nachos, cremoso peruano, and spicy shrimp. And the total for the food came to 150,000 pesos, or about 38 US dollars for 2 people. We spent a few hours there just hanging out, enjoying the music and the atmosphere before our late night flight. For the quality of food and service, it felt like a steal compared to what the same experience would cost in the US. Pantera is a perfect example of Armenia's quiet surprise factor. Smaller city, amazing food, and prices that still make you double check the receipt. So whether you're grabbing lunch at a local spot or having steak and wine at one of Armenia's better restaurants, the food scene here feels simple, affordable, and genuinely local, and that's part of its charm. Getting around Armenia is quick, easy, and cheap. The city is compact, and most neighborhoods are only 10 to 15 minutes apart. Buses run across the city for about 2,800 pesos or 70 US cents and connect to all the major residential areas. Taxis start around 6,000 pesos or $1.50 and rarely go above 10,000 pesos or $2.50 for a ride across town. You can also use InDriver or Didi to set your own price. Both work well here. For nearby trips, buses to Salento or Finlandia leave every 30 minutes from the terminal. They're comfortable scenic rides through the coffee hills and cost just 8,000 to 10,000 pesos or about $2 to $2.50 one way. You won't find cable cars or rapid transit systems here like in Medellín, but honestly, you don't need them. Armenia is small enough that getting around feels effortless. So whether you're running errands in town or heading out for a coffee farm weekend in Salento, transportation here is simple, efficient, and rarely costs more than a couple of US dollars. Healthcare in Armenia is excellent for a city its size, affordable, accessible, and reliable. The main facilities here are Hospital San Juan de Dios and Clínica del Café, both well equipped and respected throughout the Quindío region. A routine doctor visit runs about 200,000 pesos or 50 US dollars, while dentist cleanings typically cost 80,000 to 100,000 pesos or around $20 to $25. Pharmacies like Cruz Verde and Farmatodo are everywhere, and most medications that would require a prescription in the US are sold over the counter here for a fraction of the cost. Day-to-day living is also easy. You've got major supermarkets like Éxito, De Uno, and IRA, plenty of banks and co-working spaces, and solid internet coverage across the city. For anyone considering a longer stay or even retirement, Armenia's mix of low healthcare costs and convenience make daily life incredibly manageable. It's one of those cities where everything you need is close by. Healthcare, errands, groceries, all within a few minutes, and all at a price that just works. Armenia has this calm rhythm that kind of sneaks up on you. It's not a place that tries to impress you. It just quietly wins you over. Days here start with coffee, real coffee, small cafes, or directly from the farms that surround the city. It's normal to see people sitting outside with a tinto watching the world go by. There's a strong community feel. Neighbors actually know each other, and expats here tend to mix in instead of sticking to their own cities. Nightlife is mellow, a few wine bars, cafes, and live music spots, but that fits Armenia's personality. And if you want more buzz, Pereira is only 45 minutes away. What Armenia does best is quality of life. Clean air, friendly people, low stress, and coffee farms just minutes from your door. You're always one short drive away from places like Salento, Finlandia, or Buena Vista, some of the prettiest towns in Colombia. It's not a city you move to for excitement, it's one you move to for peace. So what does it really cost to live in Armenia? Let's break it down with a few real-world examples. If you're a digital nomad renting a furnished apartment, working from cafes, and eating out a few times a week, you're looking at around 2,200,000 pesos a month, or about $550. A comfortable couple living in a modern 2-bedroom apartment, dining out regularly, and taking weekend trips to Salento or Finlandia would spend roughly 3,200,000 pesos or around $800 US a month, and a retiree lifestyle including a larger home in a higher estrato, private healthcare visits, a housekeeper once or twice a week, and the occasional flight comes in around 6 million pesos, or about $1,500 US a month. However you live, Armenia gives you that sweet spot. Affordability without sacrifice. It's comfortable, consistent, and easy to manage. All right, let's talk pros and cons of living in Armenia. The pros are it's affordable, calm, and has that perfect year-round climate that makes every day feel like spring. It's safe, friendly, and close to some of Colombia's most beautiful coffee towns. Plus, Parea's airport is less than an hour away. It's clean, green, and easy to navigate. And if you're looking for low stress, this city delivers. The cons are, it is small, so the nightlife is limited and there's not a huge expat community yet. English isn't widely spoken, so you'll definitely want to learn some Spanish, and if you thrive on big city buzz, you might find the pace a little too relaxed. But for people who value comfort, calm, and connection over chaos, Armenia checks a lot of boxes. So would I live in Armenia? Honestly, yeah, I could. It's smaller and quieter than Paria or Manizales, but that's exactly what makes it so easy to love. I like that it's clean, calm, and just works. There's no traffic, the weather's perfect, and you're surrounded by coffee farms and mountain views every single day. For me, it's not a place I'd choose if I wanted a ton of nightlife or a fast-paced social scene, but if I were looking for a peaceful base to write, work, or just enjoy life without the noise, Armenia would be near the top of my list. And I'm not a nightlife type person, but I definitely like Armenia. For me, Paria is my favorite of the coffee axis just because it has the larger foodie scene. But as you can see from the restaurant we went to, Armenia can also deliver. So I could find myself living here. It's simple, beautiful, and quietly confident, a city that doesn't need to prove anything. And let's be honest, in a city where the air smells like roasted coffee, it's pretty hard to have a bad day. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to stick around because we're just getting started. I'll be covering even more destinations across Colombia, from mountain towns like El Retiro to big city life in Medellín, and a few hidden gems most people skip entirely. For more in-depth content, join my free weekly newsletter, The Passport, where I share real budgets, visa updates, and a full monthly digital magazine that takes you deeper into life abroad. If you're exploring property or business opportunities overseas, check out my Brokor newsletter. And if you're already in Colombia, come join Bogotá Nomads, our community of expats and digital nomads who meet up regularly in the capital. You'll find links for all of those down in the description. I'm Matt, this is the Americano, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.